You know, one of the most powerful truths we often forget in the middle of our chaos is this: nothing in your life is random, not a moment, not a meeting, not even a delay. And that's not just a comforting idea, it's a divine reality grounded in what we call taqdeer, the decree of Allah. You weren't created and placed on this earth without purpose, zero, and neither were the events in your life stitched together without reason. Every part of your journey, both the parts that make you smile and the ones that break you, is woven by the hands of the Almighty with unmatched wisdom and precision. Sometimes people ask, if Allah loves me, why is my life so full of confusion? Why do I keep facing setback after setback? The answer lies not in our limited understanding, but in something greater. Too, Allah knows and you do not know. Think about that for a second. We judge things based on the immediate. We look at what's happening today, and if it hurts, we think it's bad. If it makes us happy, we think it's good. But Allah's plan isn't confined to just today. His vision stretches beyond time. He sees what we cannot. So what feels like a detour to us may actually be the shortest path to where we were meant to be. What looks like rejection may actually be divine protection. You may have wanted something so badly, maybe a job, 2000 a relationship, an opportunity, and it didn't work out. And you cried, you questioned, and maybe even felt like your du'as were going unanswered. But that's where belief in taqdeer comes in. Because Allah didn't forget you. He wasn't ignoring you. He was protecting you in a way you didn't understand at the time. How often do we look back and say, wise, I'm so glad that didn't work out. That's Allah showing you, even in hindsight, how He was working behind the scenes. And here's something to truly reflect on: you are not the writer of your destiny. So you do, but you do walk the path that has been written for you. That doesn't mean you're powerless. It means you're guided. Allah gave you free will, yes, but He also wrote your story with wisdom, compassion, and clarity. That heartbreak, it wasn't a punishment. That delay in success, it wasn't because you weren't good enough. That difficult season, it wasn't without purpose. They were all chapters in a story that is still unfolding. But in the middle of the chapter, length forwards. It's easy to think the book is over. It's not. Your story is still being written, and Allah is the best of planners. Now think about this from another angle. Imagine your life like a massive puzzle, thousands of tiny pieces scattered across a table. If you look at one piece in isolation, it makes no sense. It's just color and shape. But once you step back and start to see the pieces coming together, the picture becomes clear. That's what Allah is doing with your life. The pieces may not make sense now, but eventually they will form a masterpiece. And the patience to trust that process is what faith is all about. But let's be honest, this is not always easy, especially when we're drowning in uncertainty, when the job isn't coming, when the marriage is falling apart, when the family is breaking, when you feel stuck in a cycle of disappointment. It's in those moments that Shaitan whispers to us, you're forgotten, you're abandoned, your life is a mess. But remember, that's the deception. Allah says in the Quran, perhaps you hate a thing and it is good for you, and perhaps you love a thing and it is bad for you. And Allah knows while you cannot. Surah Al-Baqarah 220-20-60c, that verse alone should change the way we see everything. It shifts our focus from short-term satisfaction to long-term wisdom. It teaches us that what we want isn't always what we need. And sometimes what we lose is exactly what saves us. You. And you know what's incredible? Even the timing of everything in your life is part of the plan. The people you meet, the moments you live, even the pain you endure, all of it is written with perfection. There's no glitch in the system of Allah. We make mistakes, we act impulsively, but Allah's plan has no errors. So even when we go astray, even when we fall off the path, He already accounted for our return. And if that's not beautiful, what is? Sometimes you'll only see the plan in retrospect. You'll look back and finally understand why things had to happen the way they did. Why Allah closed certain doors. Why you were delayed. Why you were denied. And it's in that moment that your heart will whisper, Yee, Falhamdulillah. Because now you see it, what you once called chaos was actually mercy. So what you thought was pain was preparation. And what you thought was rejection was actually redirection to something far greater. So my dear brothers and sisters, if you're walking through a chapter of your life that feels dark or confusing, don't be disheartened. Don't let your temporary emotions define your long-term faith. The plan of Allah is still active. It hasn't stopped working just because you don't understand it. Have trust, have patience, and most importantly, don't disconnect from the one who is writing your story. Speak to Him, cry to Him, ask of Him, and then leave the outcome to Him. Because at the end of the day, what's written for you will reach you, even if the entire world tries to block it. And what's not written for you will never be yours, even if the entire world tries to force it. That is the reality of Taqdeer. That is the beauty of Allah's plan. So pause, breathe, and let your heart settle in this truth. You are exactly where you are meant to be. Not by chance, not by coincidence, but by divine design. And if you could see the full picture, the way Allah sees it, you wouldn't change a single thing. You know, one of the hardest things for the human heart to grasp, especially during times of difficulty, is this truth. Allah tests those whom He loves. That sounds simple when you hear it. But when you're the one going through the storm, when you're the one crying at night, when you're the one facing loss, loneliness, your heartbreak, it's not always easy to believe that those hardships are a sign of divine love. And yet, that's exactly what they are. We live in a world that often equates comfort with success and difficulty with failure. But the reality with Allah is the complete opposite. Sometimes the people who are closest to Him face the greatest trials. Look at the prophets, peace be upon them all. Were they not the most beloved to Allah? And yet they suffered the most. They were rejected by their own people. They faced poverty, oppression, exile, and grief. The Prophet Muhammad buried nearly all of his children in his lifetime. He walked out of Taif covered in blood. He starved in the valley of Abu Talib. But despite all this, or rather because of it, he was raised in rank and honored in both worlds. So let's ask an honest question. If hardship was a sign that Allah is displeased with you, then why did He test His most beloved servants the most? 2. The answer is clear. Tests are not punishments. They are pathways to elevation. Sometimes the very pain you are running away from is the bridge that connects you to Allah in a deeper, more sincere way. Because ease doesn't always teach us. But hardship, it has a way of softening the heart, humbling the ego, and redirecting our focus to what really matters. You see, when everything in your life is going well, it's easy to forget. You get caught up in the comfort, the routine, the distractions. your du'as become mechanical. Your reliance on Allah begins to fade, even if you don't realize it. But then something happens, a hardship, a storm, wallowing, and suddenly you fall to your knees. You start making sincere du'as again. You cry to Allah in the middle of the night. You start purifying your heart. That's not a sign of failure. That's a sign of awakening. And here's the deeper wisdom. Allah loves you too much to let you stay distant from Him. So sometimes He shakes your world, not to break you, but to bring you back to Him. He removes the people, the plans, and the comforts that you've unknowingly placed your trust in, so that you're left with no one else to turn to but Him. And in that moment of vulnerability, when it's just you and your Lord, you begin to discover a connection that ease alone would never have given you. Now someone might ask, but why does it have to be painful? Why can't Allah guide us without the hardship? The truth is, for some hearts, ease leads to forgetfulness. For others, pain becomes the wake up call. Allah, in His infinite wisdom, knows exactly what your soul needs to grow. Some of us are refined by blessings. Others are purified by trials. Too, but both are from the mercy of Allah. One is a reward, the other is a reminder, but neither is a sign of abandonment. Think about the fire that purifies gold. It burns, yes, but it also removes the impurities. Trials do the same to your soul. They expose the parts of your character that need work. They strip away the arrogance, the self-reliance, the illusion of control. And what remains after that storm is something more sincere, more humble, more beautiful. That is the version of you that connects with Allah more deeply. And let's be real, some of your most powerful du'as didn't come when everything was perfect. They came when your heart was shattered, when you were desperate, when no one else understood what you were going through. That's when your soul reached out to Allah with a sincerity that words can't describe. That's not a low point. That's a turning point. That's a moment when the love of Allah is working in your life in ways you can't always see on the surface. Sometimes, Allah hides His mercy inside the very thing that hurts you. The loss, the delay, the sickness, the silence. Each one of these could be the container of hidden blessing. Because what you see as a burden today might be the very thing that protects you from a bigger disaster tomorrow. Or better yet, it might be the very thing that gets you closer to Jannah. And that brings us to a powerful truth. This world was never meant to be a place of constant ease. It's not Jannah. That's why the believer is always between two states: gratitude in times of ease and patience in times of trial. Both are forms of worship. Both are beloved to Allah. So if you're going through a hardship right now, you don't ever think that your pain means you're far from Allah. It could mean you're closer to Him than ever before. So you may not understand the reason behind your test today. You may be wondering, why me? But one day, maybe in this life or maybe in the next, you'll look back and say, Subhanallah, now I see. That test was the best thing that ever happened to me, because it brought me back to Allah. It cleansed my heart. It taught me strength. It deepened my faith. It shaped my character. And above all, it reminded me that this life is temporary, but the reward with Allah is eternal. So let your tears fall, but let them fall with hope. Let your heart break, but let it break toward Allah. So, be patient, but not passive. Be hurt, but not hopeless. Keep walking even when the path feels heavy, because every step you take with sabr is being recorded by the one who sees it all. And not a single moment of your struggle is being wasted. So remember, when life tests you, it's not because Allah is punishing you. It's because He loves you. And through that test, He's calling you closer to Him, preparing you for something greater, and purifying your soul for a reward that this world could never match. Hold on, stay firm, because the one who is testing you is also the one who will carry you through.